For years, the stories have made the rounds in the taverns of England's seaports. Tales of lost cities in the New World stocked with silver and pearl and pieces of gold as big as a man's fist. There are other stories, too, of a mysterious passage through North America, a shortcut through the Arctic ice to the riches of the Orient. All that is needed is a sailor with the courage and skill to find it. Martin Frobisher has been dreaming of such a voyage for 15 years. Frobisher is a first-rate seaman with a shady past. He is, one compatriot said, a gentleman born, a mariner by profession, and a pirate by inclination. Frobisher has made a good living plundering Spanish and French ships along the coasts of Europe. Piracy had also earned him a jail term in the Tower of London. Now, finding the Northwest Passage will be his redemption.
I vow to make a sacrifice unto God of this life, rather than return home without the discovery of Cathay. It is still the only thing left undone, whereby a notable mind might be made famous and remarkable.
In the spring of 1576, Frobisher is chosen to lead a small band of men into unknown northern waters, searching for a passage to the Orient. The expedition makes its way through howling storms and treacherous fields of ice. Then finally reaches a wide, open waterway framed by headlands on both sides. As shipmate George Best records, Frobisher is completely fooled.
The land on his right, sailing westward, he judged to be the continent of Asia, and there to be divided from the firm of America, which lieth upon the left hand.
Frobisher is certain he has found the fabled Northwest Passage. He's also found something else.
Frobisher perceived a number of small things fleeting in the sea far off, which he perceived to be porpoises or seals or some kind of strange fish. But coming closer, he discovered them to be men in small boats made of leather.
They are Inuit, paddling their kayaks out to meet Frobisher's ship. Frobisher orders 5 crewmen to go ashore with the Inuit to find high ground and scout the territory. It is the last any Englishman ever sees of them. Frobisher searches the area, but they've vanished. Distraught and angry, he lures another Inuit man in his kayak to the side of his ship.
Knowing well how they greatly delighted in our toys, and especially the bells, he rang a pretty low bell, making wise that they would give him that same that would come and fetch it. He let the bell fall and caught the man fast, and plucked him with his main force, boat and all, into the bark, out of the sea.
Frobisher's Inuit captive is not only a hostage, but also a crucial piece of evidence, proof for his supporters back in England that he has actually seen the northern reaches of the New World. Before departing, almost as an afterthought, he orders his men to look around for other souvenirs of their Arctic voyage.
One brought a piece of a black stone, which by weight seemed to be some sort of metal mineral. This was a thing of no account in the judgment of the captain at the first sight, and yet, for novelty, it was kept, in respect of the place from whence it came.
But that little lump of stone will trigger one of the most spectacular treasure hunts in history. Frobisher arrives back in London in the fall of 1576 to a hero's welcome. His apparent discovery of a Northwest Passage is heralded as a breakthrough. As for that lump of stone he has brought home, 2 different assayers declare it worthless. But a third insists it contains something special.
It was brought to certain gold finders in London, who indeed found it to hold gold, and that very richly for the quantity. Whereupon preparations were made for a new voyage, and the captain more specially directed for the searching more of this gold ore than for the searching any further of the passage.
Queen Elizabeth orders Frobisher to go back as soon as possible and claim his discovery for England. She names it Meta Incognita, of limits unknown. The next spring, Frobisher returns to Baffin Island. His men erect a pillar of rocks, and he formally takes possession of the land. Nearby, they find an abandoned Inuit camp. Scattered on the snow are shreds of European clothing. Frobisher takes this as proof that the 5 men who disappeared the summer before have been murdered by the Inuit. When they come to the next encampment, a fierce battle erupts between the English sailors and the Inuit hunters. Frobisher calls the place Bloody Point. By the time Frobisher gets back to England this time, gold fever has taken hold. Many of the wealthiest families in England eagerly put up the money to finance a massive mining expedition. The Queen herself invests nearly £4,000 in the venture. In 1578, the largest Arctic expedition in history set sail. "15 ships with 400 men, including 150 Cornish miners. All that summer, Frobisher's men dig up the black rocks. George Best is sure the barren shores of Frobisher Strait contain infinite riches.
They found such plenty of black ore that if the goodness might answer the great plenty thereof, it might reasonably suffice all the gold gluttons of the world. There is no doubt this will make our country rich and happy. And of these prosperous beginnings will grow hereafter, I hope, most happy endings.
By summer's end, the miners have dug up 1,200 tons of ore, enough to stuff the holds of every ship in the fleet. But George Best's hope for happy endings is never realized. Once the cargo arrives back in England, the truth begins to emerge. For the next 5 years, the investors try in vain to extract anything of value from those tons of rock. It is all worthless. And in the end, they turn on Frobisher.
If any evil success should happen in the work of the ore, which God forbid, the same were to be laid on Captain Frobisher. He is so full of lying talk, as no man may credit anything that he doth speak.
Frobisher's boldness, his great skill in navigation, his coolness in the face of danger, all are forgotten. He is forced to take up his former occupation of piracy. As for the ore he has brought home from the New World, it is used as landfill to patch the roadways in the county of Kent. Equally frustrating, the body of water that Frobisher thought was the Northwest Passage turns out to be a dead end, a bay on the eastern shore of Baffin Island. The English will not find their El Dorado in the north. They will be forced to search for riches elsewhere in the New World.